Man, has it been a tumultuous real estate market so far within the Toronto real estate market in 2023, and honestly really going back 18 months. These two charts I'm going to show you in today's video and go through all the major details, help explain where the Toronto real estate market has been so far within 2023 and where we might be going into the summer market of 2023 as the market starts to cool down. There is no doubt about it, as I covered in my most recent video, we have entered a cooler phase of the Toronto real estate market insofar as we even look at the first 20 days of June. In that video, I went through all the analytics in terms of how many offers made, how many showings. Furthermore, I elaborated where we actually came from as well, namely the spring of 2023, which was really hot. Not as hot as the spring of 2022. With the conditional pause on rates, well, that added fuel to the fire. Now the rates have gone up in the June meeting. In the July meeting, there's another likelihood of rates going up as well. But these two charts I'm going to cover really help us understand further where the Toronto real estate market is at and where it might be going. Before we get to that, as always, this is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate and Remax Realtron Realty Inc. As always, welcome to this video and welcome to this channel. I am a Toronto real estate agent working with buyers and sellers across the GTA. Welcome, nice to meet you. On this channel, we like to discuss all things having to do with the Toronto real estate market stats, market facts, buyer advice, seller advice, market trends, news items, pre-construction previews, building reviews, and so much more. So if you enjoy any of this content, feel free to subscribe and give this video a like. And furthermore, the charts I'll be discussing in this video, I actually shared across with the members of my exclusive WhatsApp group community. You, if you join, will get first access to all these market stats, market trends, these graphs, bars, whether I made them or whether I took them from a report, and pretty much you get heads up. So as always, feel free to join that group as well, and you can find my contact information if need be in the description box. Get in touch with any questions you may have. So let's start with the first chart. This chart I took from the Chubb resale market report for the month of May, so it does not account for June data, but do not worry, I'm not going to shy away from making little projections here or there about how things are going to continue into June and July. This bar graph shows you sales on a monthly basis so far in 2023 with the 3 preceding years in comparison. And my job as a Toronto real estate agent actively working with buyers and sellers is to demystify the market. And the numbers do not often speak for themselves. We have to elaborate and give context to the numbers. And I find this chart to be really good at that. Let's start with the fact that, as we see according to this sales chart, the year 2023, as indicated by the gray bar, has seen a month-over-month increase in sales that is pretty congruent and consistent. I mean, sales were pathetic in January, although very much so seasonal, and even more pathetic, it was far lower than the preceding 3 years, but nonetheless, even for the preceding 3 years, sales historically are the lowest in January. But slowly and steadily, we see that sales continue to increase on a month-over-month basis in the Toronto real estate market, increasing into February, March, April, and May. Now, as of April of 2023, sales were still lower than 2022 and 2021, but for the first time this year, sales figures surpassed that of 2020, so at least one of the 3 preceding years. And of course, the 2020 bar graph, as indicated by the green, you see in April of 2020, sales were very low as well. And that's due to the fact that at that point in time, the worldwide event we know as the pandemic had just started and it was very new, and the market took a major pause. But where sales start to take off a little bit more, but although once again in congruence and pretty steadily, was in May of 2023, where for the first time we saw a year-over-year increase in sales as compared to May of 2022, as illustrated by the orange bar. Nonetheless, though, even in May of 2023, where the market was really at its hottest so far in 2023, and I think we'll look back at being the peak of the market in 2023, because so far June numbers are significantly down in some metrics, marginally down in other metrics as compared to May of 2023. Well, nonetheless, May of 2023 was still lower than May of 2021, as indicated by the blue bar graph. And why were April and May so hot within the Toronto real estate market and GTA real estate market? Well, because once again, the Bank of Canada did not continue down its path of increasing the interest rates. They stated that they're going to pause the rates for the time being, and they termed it a conditional pause. And that in combination to the fact that it was a spring market, spring markets are historically hot anyways, seasonally speaking. And furthermore, supply was very low and demand exceeded supply. Well, that was all a perfect concoction for a hotter than expected spring market of 2023, which really peaked in May. Some of my best sales, whether it's a $1.5 million penthouse in Mimico or a $1.8 million detached property bungalow around the Yonge Finch area, those sales occurred in late April and May. And we would not be able to get those numbers in March of 2023 or even in June of 2023 as I record this video. It is, I believe, June 21st. But speaking of June, how is this graph going to look into June and July? Well, I can't predict the future. That's one of my favorite sayings on this channel. If I were able to predict the future, I would not be here right now talking to you about real estate. Safe to say, I would probably be elsewhere. And I say that as real estate being my passion, but if I could predict the future and become a multi-millionaire, I would not be doing this full time. Anyways, the point is, I can't see into the future, but I can make safe assumptions. And here is my safe assumption. I think this is a very, very safe assumption and a professional opinion about what's going to happen, but opinion nonetheless. I think into June and July, we're going to see this gray bar kind of plateau. It might be perfectly even, it might be marginally higher, it might be marginally lower. But overall, I do believe the point here is that sales will plateau going into June and July, because once again, the interest rate hike and the possibility of another rate hike. But inventory is finally improving. Still not where we want to see it, and we'll cover the inventory in a quick second for the next graph. But as inventory improves, demand kind of subsides due to the increase in rates. We're going to kind of have the opposite market conditions, and it's going to lead to a more moderate market, if not fully a buyer's market, which is really good news for buyers. But one quick thing before we go to the next graph and the next chart that we'll look at in terms of two charts that really help us understand where the Toronto real estate market is at. Here we see the peak of sales within the last 4 years really was March of 2021. That blue bar you see in March of 2021 appears to be as if it's one bloor, you know, the tallest residential structure that's coming to downtown Toronto. It is so far and above all the other bar graphs, and because that's the peak of sales within the last 4 years in any given month, March of 2021. The closest we ever got to that in a year that was not 2021 was actually September of 2020. But once again, listings, new inventory, supply, that is also key. And I just made mention of it in terms of where we might be going with regards to the sales side. Well, let's look at the same exact chart, the same exact concept, just for new inventory. And by the way, if you enjoyed these charts and enjoy this commentary, you can get first access to these charts and other items that I use for research for these videos on YouTube or videos on other social media platforms as well. You can get first access with my commentary in my exclusive WhatsApp group. The link is in the description box. Feel free to join. It's 100% anonymous. The only person who can see who's part of the WhatsApp group is me, the admin. Other individuals cannot see it. And after just a couple of weeks, we already have upwards of 37 to 40 people. So it's a community that's growing as well, and it's very informative. But with inventory, with this inventory bar graph, once again, comparing the monthly inventory, new listings, not active listing, but new properties that have come onto the market on a monthly basis. But with this bar graph, it's the same thing. Once again, comparing to the last 3 preceding years, we see that the increase on a monthly basis is not as consistent and congruent as it was with the sales graph. January and February, new listings were around the same range. Obviously, February was marginally higher. All of a sudden, we take a bigger leap than expected from February to March, where inventory increases. Still, at this point in time, though, inventory is quite pathetic, as you can see in March of 2023. Far lower than March of 2022 and far lower than March of 2021 and somewhat even lower than March of 2020. And just to rephrase here for the sake of clarity, 2022 is indicated by the color orange, 2021 is indicated by the color blue, and 2020 is indicated by the color green. Now in April, once again, this is where things become interesting, much like the sales chart we were looking at. In April, this is the first time where in April of 2023, new listings, new properties coming onto the market for sale in that given month actually ends up being higher than one of the 3 preceding years. In this case, once again, no surprise, 2020. Same thing happened, if we recall, when we went through the chart for sales. April of 2023 only beat out one of the 3 preceding years as well in that case, and it was also 2020. And once again, as I said, the reason being the worldwide event we were dealing with, which was really new at the time. But the jump of new inventory from April to May has been quite surprising and quite necessary. It's much needed reprieve for a lot of buyers. I mean, when you really look at this chart, the jump in inventory is the biggest jump in inventory from a month-over-month perspective in recent memory. Still, even with this big jump, wherein in May we saw a substantial increase in new inventory coming onto the market, May was still once again far down as compared to May of 2022 and May of 2021, as once again indicated by the orange and blue bar graphs. But what can we expect for June and July? Once again, if you recall with the sales chart, I said you can expect this gray bar to kind of plateau. Well, on the contrary, I think in this case, the inventory, the gray bar for this, will actually not plateau and will continue to increase. So thus, as a result, I expect an increase in listings, new inventory going forward into June and July, while we see a plateau of sales, not a drastic drop of sales, but a plateau. So maybe marginally up or marginally lower, pretty much within the same range. And once again, this helps us understand not only where we have been within the Toronto real estate market and where we're going, but more importantly, where we're going. And I think, as I made mention in my most previous video, we are going towards a much cooler market. And let me tell you why this is not all bad news, because it provides great opportunity for a lot of buyers. I mean, in the last couple of weeks to a month, I've started suddenly working with way more buyers and speaking to way more buyers than I was speaking to in March, April, and May. Why? Well, because in March, April, and May, I was mainly working with sellers because it was really good time for selling. Obviously, April was better than March and May was better than April. But now as the market's starting to cool down a bit, I'm still getting a lot of contacts from sellers looking to potentially list their property. But the educated buyers who follow my content or follow other content as well, or they're very intelligent in their own right and they survey the market, well, they're starting to get in touch with me more and more, and I'm doing more transactions on the buying side of things. I just bought a property 3 days ago and I'm actively working with 2 other serious buyers. This was not the case. This was the case for me on the selling side during the peak times of the market. So not only for my own professional and personal business do I anticipate working more on the buying side going to June and July, but I think that says something as well. It says that it's going to be a much more buyer friendly market going forward into June and July. Once again, don't try to time the market. Make the best decision for yourself and the facts on the ground at that point in time. But if you're looking for a general period, I think you're going to look at more favorable conditions. And the particular buyers that stand the best chance to get the best deals because they will be negotiating from the highest positions of leverage are those buyers who are buying with significant cash, whether it's 30%, 40%, which is on the lower end, to all cash buyers. And let me tell you why. Because obviously as interest rates have gone up and are set to probably go up one more time, maybe not July, but maybe the time after that, that diminishes demand. That is downward pressure on demand. That's partially the reason I think sales are going to go down and a lot of buyers are going to remove themselves from the market. It's kind of ironic and sad. As market conditions get better, The reason market conditions are getting better for buyers, the very reason that buyers have to kind of remove themselves, higher interest rates. Nonetheless, the cash buyers, once again, those buying with significant cash and only relying on minimal to no financing, will have the ability to take advantage of the cooler market, but not suffer from the very reasons that is causing the cooler market, which is interest rates. That really allows them to maneuver in the market with such power and such leverage, and a real estate agent such as myself or someone else can really use that to get a great deal, whether it's on price, conditions, whatever it may be. Anyways, let me know if you have any further questions. As always, this is Sam from SaberiSix Real Estate and Remax Realtron Realty. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Feel free to join my WhatsApp group, the link in the description box. And if you have any further inquiries or you just want to get in touch with me, my contact information is in the description box. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to subscribe, comment, rate, and review, and stay safe. Thank you.